I'd like to talk about deconstructionism as it pertains to discussions on defending the Christian faith or objecting to the Christian faith. Now, deconstructionism is one of those problematic words. It's problematic because people don't tend to agree on exactly what it means. Ask a dozen different philosophers or a dozen different literary critics or art critics, and you'll probably get a dozen different definitions of that word. For my purposes, I'd like to describe it as this process where you take somebody's statement, somebody's truth claim, pick apart all the definitions of all the terms within that statement, pick apart every single nuance, every single ambiguity in the phrasing of the statement, and treat that process as though it is somehow a rebuttal. You see that a lot in discussions of the Christian faith. For example, I believe that there is such a thing as absolute truth, and I say that because the statement, "there is no absolute truth," cannot be absolutely true by its own internal logic. I have a video that discusses that. Now that doesn't stop some people from saying, "Haha, you have not defined what truth is." Or when I discuss free will, I define free will as the ability to make moral decisions. Now I think we all intuitively understand that, but that doesn't stop people from saying, "Haha, you have not defined morality." One fellow even wrote to me and said, "LOL, you haven't defined what morality is." Now I'm not saying that questions like what is truth and what is morality are not legitimate philosophical inquiries. They are. However, in the context of these discussions, I think it's foolish to treat these questions as though they were somehow valid rebuttals. And I say that for a number of reasons. One is, certainly on YouTube, you have a limited time frame. You only have, at least I only have 10 minutes or so for these videos. Certainly a longer video, even if possible, would tend to be impractical. And so I think it's kind of foolish and really petty and childish to get on somebody's case for failing to define every single relevant term within the discussion, or for failing to defend every tenet of their religious worldview, as some people demand that you do. I certainly don't go around expecting skeptics to defend every tenet of their worldviews within their videos. You know, I'm not about to get on their case for things they haven't covered, nor am I going to ask them to define their terms unless it is truly relevant to the discussion, and unless there is some genuine uncertainty about those terms. Which leads to my second objection. Do you really believe that when somebody asks, or somebody says, "You haven't defined what truth is," that they believe there's some uncertainty about the term? We all know what truth is. Truth is what corresponds to reality. This is not the sort of term that you should have to define for a class, every time you use it. Same thing with morality. Morality is the set of guiding principles that distinguish right from wrong. We all intuitively understand that. Even without a formal definition, even a child understands what that is. I don't believe for one moment that when people raise these objections, it's because they think the definition is, somehow in dispute, or that there's some genuine uncertainty about it. You know what I think is going on here? And I don't claim to know what's exactly is in people's minds, but I'll be honest with you. I think that what's happening here is people feel the need to offer some sort of objection. For example, if somebody does not want to believe that there's such thing as absolute truth, but they can't assail the logic, they'll assail the definition, even though there is no real dispute about what truth is, or the definition of free will, or the definition of morality, and so forth and so on. It's this unfortunate human tendency to want to offer some sort of response when you disagree, without actually attacking the logic of the argument itself. Let's be honest with ourselves. When you're asking someone to define truth, it's not because you don't know what it is. It's not because the other person doesn't know what it is. It's not because this is a grand question that is somehow unresolved. It's because we have this natural tendency to want to offer some sort of response. By the way, when Christians do the same thing, I find it equally disappointing. This is why I always urge people to stick to the heart of the matter. When you start to pick apart these details, it shows that you just want to quarrel, and that's distasteful on both the side of skeptics and believers.